Welcome to the lecture number 17 of the Design Analysis of Algorithm course. In this session, we are going to continue our discussion that we were having on the network flow algorithm. Today is the March 8th. So let us start. So what I would do that initially I would quickly go through that what we have done in the last class, and then we would go ahead with the new topics. So the topic is very simple. As you know that a graph is given to you, and the graph is a kind of connected graph where two spatial nodes are there, S and T. They are called what? Source and sink. There is a notion of capacity that tells that how much thing can flow from one place to another, and all these arrows are actually going to tell you that. For example, from S to V1, 16 unit of something can pass. So this kind of graph is given to you, and it is supposed to thought that everything that is produced inside the S is producing something, and all those things are need to be delivered to the T. So this is what the network you have. So what you want, that you want to push as much things as possible. So can you determine that what is the maximum value that you can pass to this particular T? So this is a small network, so sometimes you will be thinking that it's very easy, but for the general kind of questions, when this network is big and large, then it is very difficult to find out those kind of things. So we have seen something in the last class that we define for each of the connections. We define there what is the capacity. That is actually a number that is greater than equal to 0. If it is greater than to 0, means actually there is nothing can be flowed over here. For example, from S to V3, there is no connection. So sometimes we can assume that there is a connection, but the capacity is 0. So we have talked about that source and destination. We want there is a path for every vertex. If there is a vertex, you can definitely find out a path from S. You can reach over there, and from V you can find out a path so that you can reach to the T. So path is this kind of path is always available. Self loops are not allowed, and means something is going, because it doesn't make any sense, because you want to transfer the things from S to T. So it doesn't make any sense that if you say that you are going to have something over here, doesn't make any sense. So we assume that the graph is connected. So number of edges is greater than V minus 1. That is nothing very important. So we want to understand that what do I mean by flow. So flow is a actually flow, when you say that this much I am sending from here, then they are going to represent it as a flow. So one thing that let us say that by mathematical formulation we are going to denote this flow by the value f. So given vertices, you say that it is a real number that is going to tell you that what is the flow that this particular thing is going to have. So flow, there would be two kind of flow. One, when you want to find out that what is the between S and T, what is the total flow, and then in between there would be flow between the each of the nodes. So this is the network flow, and the flow that when we say that between two nodes, then we are going to represent it using a value f. So a few minutes back we have talked about that this flow is going to be positive, and it is going to be bounded by some capacity. There is some capacity, it is bounded by that number. So very important concept that is called the flow conservation, that tells that the no node can store anything. Even if it can store for some time, but after some time it cannot store anything. But however, source can produce infinite amount of thing, and sink can accumulate infinite amount of things. But no other node, any other node, it cannot store anything inside it. So essentially, does it mean that if you consider any of the nodes that are there, if they are not SNT, so if you see that how much you are going to send for, uh, for any particular node, you see that VU represent that how much V is sending to you. This FVU means how much V is sending to you. So if you find out this summation for all the things, means how much thing is coming to my node. What is it, this value, that how much things is coming to my node, coming to the node U. And similarly, if I say UV, So how much this node, this particular node, is sending to other nodes. If I'm going to find out the summation of all other nodes, so these values should be same. Okay, so we can put it, if I put a minus sign over here, this equation becomes 0. So they both are same. So this is called the flow conservation. If you want to find out that what is the network flow, how much the total overall flow into the network, that is not very difficult to see. That you just see that how much you are actually going to send from S. So from S, you are going to send to other vertices. For all other vertices, how much you are going to send out. Makes sense? Means how much S is going to take out for all the vertices that are there. And if there is other vertices, for example, if it is sending something back to the S, so we can also consider those things, that how much is being sent back to this particular source node, and that value we can subtract because it is receiving this. So total net flow is going to be the summation of these two quantities. However, we know that nobody else is sending to anything to the S, so this particular quantity is actually 0. So essentially we can say that how much is being sent by the source is the flow. And from the sink point of view also, you can write the similar kind of equation where you say that how much being attained into the T. So you can write into the same expression. How you can modify this expression, can you tell me? So let me 1 minute, let me write like this, that flow is going to be that, you say that, let me say that this quantity is not there. So for all the things which are there, they are sending to the T. For all the vertices which are sending to the T, this quantity. Make sense? So FVT, summation of the FVT is going to be given, and this quantity should be equal to the previously written quantity because nothing is being stored into the network. We know that what is the maximum flow problem, that we want to find out a flow so that this particular quantity is maximized. And this is actually the flow. Initially the flow is 0. For example, if this is the network, flow is 0 here. Okay, there's only capacities are shown. So if I say that flow of 1 is over here, one is over here, 1 is over here, 1 is over here, I think 1 I can pass. So how much total flow is there? Total flow is 2, because in this line 1 is coming and this line also 1 is coming. It is maximum. Is it maximum? Answer is no, because I can put 2 over here as well, so it becomes 3, so I can increase it. Okay, all these things are clear to you. So let us continue with this discussion, that if you see this kind of scenarios where you see that the parallel edges are there, so you can say that I can add one more node over there and I can connect this to here so that I can be safe. Actually, this thing is required for the algorithm that we are going to see, and for the correctness of that particular algorithm. And without loss of generality, we can do all these things. So let us put this constraint that there is no problem into this particular equation. This is another special condition where multiple sources are there and multiple sinks are there. So the solution is this, that you put extra source over here, and you from here you send all these things which are being forwarded over here, and similarly you put a sink over here and it is going to receive all these things. So by adding two super sink and super source, you actually can always convert the problem into this particular thing where there is no parallel thing. So it's a general assumption. Actually, what we wanted to tell by this, that it is a general assumption. Ford filtration algorithm, that is actually we are going to see in this particular session. We have seen also into the last session that this algorithm says that how can we find out the maximum flow. Very simple, 3-line, very straightforward algorithm that tells that you create a residual network. You create a residual network. What do I mean by this? Given a graph, you are going to create another graph that is called the residual graph. We are going to talk about this later. Residual graph. From the given graph that is given to you, you are going to create another graph that is residual graph. And in this graph, you actually search for something called augmenting path. You find out that there is some augmenting path. If there exists an augmenting path, if you can find out this, then you can use this particular path and you can augment over here. And the another method is called augment this particular flow into this particular network, and then by this network becomes G dash, and again you can find out R dash by this, because now this has been changed. You have to find out R dash, and you keep doing until you don't get anything over here. Make sense? Very simple algorithm. So let us talk about briefly that what is this residual network. Residual network has two things. One, it represents flows and residues. These two things it represents. There are two kinds of nodes over there. So if there is a node U and node V, so between them there is a node that is called the CUV. What is the capacity, original capacity, minus what is the current flow. So in your graph, if there is any flow, and then if you are wanted to make a residual network, so what you have to do that for all the capacities which are there, you subtract the flow with this and add a node into this particular residual network. One more node you have to show that whatever flow is there into this original network, this flow you also have to show over here, but UV is shown as a VU. So a reverse kind of flow is also being introduced over here. Essentially what it makes, what it does, that for every link that is there into your original node, you are either going to add one backward thing or one forward thing. So every UV is going to be given two different edges into the residual network. Is it clear that into the residual network, from your original graph network, you are going to induct two things into the residual network. One is what is the residual capacity, and what is the reverse flow. These two things you are going to represent into the residual network. Very interestingly, that so if something becomes zero, for example, if this value becomes zero or this flow is zero, then you can drop those terms. So let's assume that you are not dropping anything. So for each of the A's over, you are going to get two A's over here. So how many A's is this particular thing? RF means this residual network, number of edges into residual networks, how many they are. There could be double of the number of edges into your original thing. Make sense? Any questions over here? Can you write yes that we understood this concept? Can you write yes? Anybody? Apur? Yes? Okay. So this was an example that we have done in the last class. Here a intermediate processing step was shown where 11 was here flow, 12 was here, 15 was here, some flow was here. And then we created a residual network. And in the residual network, as I told you, that you are going to create two kind of edges, and these two are one, first is this and second is this, these kind of edges, and they both are put into one place. And then when this is what the residual network is. Make sense? With this kind of residual network, we have seen that can we find out, for example, 5 here, 4 here, and 5 here. If you can find out like this, then this is called a what? This is what? Augmenting path. So this way we can go ahead and when we find out this particular flow augmenting path, as this algorithm says that you have to find out the augmenting path. If you find out the augmenting path over there, so we have talked about that how we create the residual network. Then we have to find out the augmenting path. After getting this augmenting path, we have to augment into the flow network. How to that how this augmentation happens, that's the important part. Okay, so augmentation, we are going to talk about that. What is the augmentation? Hope till now, if you have any question, please let me know. What I was telling, you have a G, from this you created a residual network. In the residual network, you find out a augmenting path, P say, and then you are going to use this P to augment to this particular graph. How you are going to augment this? So f dash, let's assume that f is a flow into the original graph, and f dash is into the residual network. And this is, I'm going to talk about only about that. This is for the path that we have actually assumed. Okay. So in that particular path, what we are going to do, we are going to represent this augmentation as a mathematical notation as f arrow f dash. Okay. For UV, for any UV that is there inside the edges, if inside the if you get any kind of flow over there from this f dash, so what you say that what was the original flow, value, and then plus f dash UV minus f dash VU. Means actually you want to go into this in some particular direction, so you want to say that what is the difference, means how much you can increase. So this you are going to add over there. So let us just, for the time being, let us just stick to this particular formula. We are going to say something about this formula very soon. So if otherwise it is 0 for the places where there is no path, then we are going to say that we are not going to touch those kind of places, where we are only going to touch those places where this augmenting path exists. Now we want to say something about this, that this augmentation, whatever we are going to do, is a flow. First thing we want to show that it is a flow in the G with the value, whose value is this, that whatever the new flow I was actually able to find out into the augmenting into the residual network, that has been added to the previously flow that was there. Okay, this particular equation actually has this kind of property. So we have to show this, that how this is going to happen. So we are going to show you that how come this particular property is going to be satisfied. So before going to this, let me show you this thing. Can you see this particular formula? Everybody, can you read this? F dash VU is less than CF of VU. What is CF? What is the capacity? You know that this is F dash VU, because you know that. What is F dash VU? F dash means inside where? Inside residual network. So it would be less than what is the capacity available over there, VU, because every time flow cannot exceed that particular value. And you know that since VU is equal to UV into the original network, if you in your original network, if there is a link between U and V and there is a flow F, so into the residual network between U and V, you put VU with that particular value. So you say that if in the original network there is some flow between VU, so it is UV into the residual network. So this formula is clear. What is this particular formula? That you know that F dash of VU, if you pick any two nodes V and U, is actually upper bounded by the capacity, because flow cannot be more than capacity, and it is actually equal to F UV. Let us see that what this particular value is, that this augmented value between U and V is equal to F UV plus F dash UV minus F dash VU. This is nothing more than this formula. The same formula has been written over here. So just see this negative quantity, this part. This is a negative quantity. Okay. So if and this is a quantity, the same quantity, and you know that FUV, what is FUV? It is greater than this particular quantity. So if I put FUV over there, so I can put a thing that because it's for a negative sign, so we are going to get something lesser than the original thing, okay, because it's for a negative sign. So instead of this, if I put FUV, and since you know that from this quantity is a bigger quantity and it is a negative, so we can say that it is lesser than this. Here you can see that these two quantities are same. You can cut it. You say that of UV. Okay. So so this is one thing, and then you say that since this is a flow and this flow cannot be negative quantity, so you can say that this is greater than 0. So what do I mean by this? I mean by this that flow is never negative, because this was a one property. Now, if there is a flow, the flow should always be positive. So we have proved that whatever we are going to obtain by this augmentation is always going to be positive. Few conditions were there. You have seen that if you want to show that there is a network, then all the flow should be positive. So we have shown that the flow is going to be positive. Make sense? Next thing that I wanted to show you, that whatever flow is there, flow is actually bounded. Flow should be positive, flow should be bounded, because there is a capacity defined. So flow should between UV should be less than the capacity of those two nodes. So how can I show that whatever I am going to do by this is actually upper bounded by the capacity? How can I show like this? Again, let us write the same equation once again. So this is the equation that we have. That the same equation over here, same expression over here, FUV plus F dash UV minus F dash VU. So here you can say that there is a, since it is a negative term, if I drop it this term, what would happen? So if I can drop this term and then I would get these things. But since negative has been dropped, I can say that this is less than this particular quantity is less than this particular quantity. Any questions on that? Ignites, sir, in the formula, should it be U V belongs to E? No, no, formula is fine. Okay, the formula is correct. Sorry. So I just wanted to ask you that whether this line is clear, that there is some negative part that I am removing. So I can write that all these things are actually greater than this. Okay. So you know that f dash, what is the flow? It is actually bounded by the residual capacity, because what is the CF of UV? And you know that CF of UV is equal to C minus FUV. UV again comes, so they can get cancelled. You can see that it is CUV. So anything that you are going to do as an augmentation, it is upper bounded by the capacity. There is a second thing that is a proof that it is upper bounded by the capacity. So in our network, two things we have seen, that whenever there is a flow, by this doing augmentation, it is positive, at least greater than zero. It is not never negative. Second thing we have seen, that the value is actually upper bounded by the capacity. Third thing that we wanted to say, that flow conservation, that actually we wanted to say that from UV and VU, all these things should be same. Flow conservation should also be there, because if flow conservation get disturbed, then also we would be into the big problem. Let us see this flow conservation. U belongs to V minus ST for all the nodes which are not neither the source or the terminal network. What we can see, that if you if you find out this particular summation, what is the summation? That when you have done this augmentation, then for all the U's, what is for all the V's, if you want to find out the summation of this, what does it mean? That how much is going out? Make sense? Make sense? How much is going out? For all the U's, these U's are sending to V's, okay? And these, for all these V's, I'm going to find out the summation. Means you are picking a node U and trying to see that how much it is sending. Okay, this quantity is how much it is sending. It should be equal to what? How much how much coming to you. Okay, how much it should be equal to how much it is coming to you. So how can we show this? So you know that because this particular quantity, there is a formula, this particular formula, you can put this particular formula over here, that UV plus UV minus F dash VU. You can take this summation to three places inside. Then this particular formula becomes this. Any questions on that? That the summation goes inside. And you know that when we are inside, then for each these terms, you know that here for FUV, there is a flow conservation, because these are the individual terms. We are actually here talking about that what is going to happen with respect to the augmentation. But for all these networks, this thing was actually holding. This condition was actually holding. This flow conservation condition was actually holding. So here UV can be written as a VU. Here also UV could be written as a VU. Here also UV could be written as a VU. If it can be written like this, then again I can take this summation out from here, and I can say that I can write the same equation once again. And if I combine this thing, so it is just a augmentation of VU. So it is the same thing with the UV, it becomes VU. So looks like that whatever things are going, they are actually coming to me into this particular new kind of into this particular new kind of network. So these are the small properties that are related to this. Now the third property is important, that whenever you are going to add these two things, actually you are going to get F plus F dash. This is an important property. Let us see that how we can show this. So this augmentation is represented by this particular formula. Okay, here UV are not being presented, so that is also fine. That if I want to find out that what is the augmentation, so with the augmentation for all the V's which are inside the V, all the vertices, how much is going from source to this particular vertices? Can you see this? How much going out from S to V? From S to V means how much is produced for all the vertices, minus from V to S. From V to S, how much it is coming? This is the original equation that we were using. We were earlier telling that this value is actually 0, but for the sake of mathematical completeness, let us take this. So this formula is clear to everybody, because if there is any flow we are talking about, so this flow can be defined by seeing that how much is going from S to all the vertices and how much coming from all other vertices to S. So this thing we can here a small trick has been used, that instead of V I am going to write V1, instead of here V I am going to write V2. What is V1? Let me define the V1 by this, that all the vertices such that S V is inside E and V2 is equal to V such that Vs inside E. Okay. So why I'm writing this? Actually, what is happening now? If there is an S, then it would be having a value. For the other things, if I want to find out the summation, they would be actually 0, although all other values would be 0. Make sense? Okay. So why I can write like this? Because whatever being left, they are actually 0. Because if there is no S, those values are actually 0. Make sense? Make sense? So what I have just written V1 over here, and here I have written V2. I am telling that only this particular set is going to have the smaller things, because where there is an S, I'm going to consider only those things. Now this particular complete expression can be written by this, because this was the definition, right? The original definition that we can use the original definition to write f augmentation f dash sv is equal to f sv plus f dash sv minus f dash vs. So if I write like this, then I can take the summation terms inside. I can say that this summation goes here, here, and here. I can put all these things as a summation terms. It goes inside f dash vs summation of v2. This summation term goes inside. After that, I do small kind of a rearrangement. Here I say that fvs, this particular quantity, I'm going to take it here. Okay. This quantity f dash sv into the v1, I think it is here. Okay. Then f dash vs into v1, this quantity is actually here. This is this v2 is here. F dash sv is being placed over here. So all these terms are only slightly rearranged. Okay. After this small rearrangement, you can see that this is the summation of, this is f dash sv, and it is also f dash sv, and here v1 and into the summation of v2. Okay, it is summation into the v1 and v2. So I can put here union of those two things. V belongs to this union, and the summation of single term can I write like this. Similarly here, v1 and v2, I can say that's union of v1 and v2, and this is the summation of the same term. Can I combine like this? So let me combine the things into this way. Then, because you know that V is a even bigger set. So instead of this thing, I can put once again, I can put the V, because if the other terms are coming, they would be 0. So everywhere I'm going to put the V once again. So after doing all these things, actually we have reached to a very interesting place where this particular formula comes and this particular part comes. Okay, this is the flow into f, and this is the flow into f dash. You can see that the same formula, that because the formula of the flow is this, from S how much going into the V, from V how much coming into the S, from S how much going to the V how much coming into the S, for the nodes which are into V. Okay, this is into the F and this is into the F dash. So by doing this, we actually can say that F plus F dash. So again, interesting proof that actually shows that when we are going to do the augmentation is actually whatever your previous flow was there, it is being added to something else. So you may think like this, that if you have a graph, you have created the residual network. In the residual network, you find out a path, you are going to augment over here. So in your graph, if the flow was F, it becomes F dash. Again you create this residual network, find out something, add over here, it becomes F double dash, and you say that F dash is greater than this, F double dash is even greater than this. After that, everything is getting increased. So you may think that it cannot go till infinite, because every time by doing this operation, you are actually increasing the flow. So how much flow you can increase to a maximum value only? This kind of proof also actually incorporates the concept that after some time it would actually saturate, and you would be able to get the maximum flow from your system. But right now we are only considering on this, that when you are adding something, it is going to increase. When you are going to increase, what is going to happen, we have just discussed. So augmenting path that we have just talked about, that is augmenting path. We have, what is the augmenting path? It is going to have a new kind of graph, where into the path you are going to set the values in such a way so that here CF value, whatever value is in minimum, whatever the minimum value into the path is, you are going to get, you are going to put as a CF of P. So ultimately the same thing that I wanted to tell, that from the graph you created the residual network. Into the residual network you find out the augmenting path P, you are going to add over here. Okay, we augment F with the FP, we get another graph, another flow G, whose value is closer to the maximum. So whenever multiple number of time, if you do the same thing, you would be reaching to the final answer. This is what the understanding is. Okay, now this is a kind of understanding that my algorithm is correct. So are you okay with this, that my algorithm is correct? Why my algorithm is correct? Can you think about this? Why my algorithm is correct? Because I am telling that flow network, whatever flow network you have, you are going to create a residual network. From this residual network, if you find out something, you are going to add over here, and therefore your flow is going to increase. It is going to increase. How much how many times you can do it? After some time it would happen that you would not be able to find out any path over here. If you don't find any path over here, you are actually reached this particular place where this value is actually the maximum. Okay, this is what the proof is. But however, if you want to do a formal proof for this, that my algorithm is correct, then you have to define something more. And let us see that particular part. That is the interesting part for today's class. We are going to talk about the formal proof that my algorithm is going to be correct. Okay, so for that, actually it uses a very small concept that is called the cut into the network. Cuts of the flow networks. We are going to talk about what is a cut into the flow network. So so let's come here and let me tell you that let's assume that this is what the flow network is. So you can see that 11 is flowing here, 12 is flowing, 15 is flowing, capacity is 20, capacity is 12, capacity is 16. You all understand this thing. What I wanted to tell you, that if I choose some of the vertices, if I choose some of the vertices and say that I'm going to create a set, say S, capital S, it is a capital S, that contains a small s plus few more things. then I can say that remaining things are actually into another set. I say that T in this set, what is there? I can say that all the vertices minus S. So everybody understand this particular set. In the S, there is S. T is not there. So let me say that T belongs to small t belongs to capital T. Let me also say this so that it is clear that T is not here. In this particular set, T is not there, only S is there. So this is called a cut. So can you give me any other example of the cut where can you define just S? Can I define S set? So if I write this thing, can you, okay. Okay, I'm going to write. I'm going to say that S is equal to small s and V3. Is it a cut? You know that what is T. T is just V minus S. Is it a cut? Yes or no? Yes, it is cut. I have not told any other condition. So it is fine. As long as small s is there into S and few more s's are there, even if nothing is there, that is also fine to me. So as long as S is here and T is not inside here, T is not here, then I'm okay with this S, and the T is similarly we can define. And this kind of division is called as a cut. So here I gave you example where I picked the V3. So they need not to be adjacent. Okay, please try to understand. They need not to be adjacent. So what I told you that cut is a ST where we, if I want to define a cut, I have to define two set S and T. Okay, with respect to a flow network G, it is a partition. It divides the thing into two sets where S is a set and T is a set. Small s belongs to S and small t belongs to capital T. Now few definitions. Net flow across the cut. If I want to find out what is net flow, it is going to say that from the S you pick U and from the T you pick V and try to see how much going from here to here. So in our network, if I say that this is S, this is T, so for all the nodes which are there, how much they are sending to the T. Okay, it is the summation. This is the first term in the summation of all those things. If I want to find out what is the net flow across the cut, net flow across the cut I'm talking about. So this is the first summation. And second thing that you have rightly guessed that whatever is coming inside, you are going to subtract those parts. If something is coming from V to U, if something is coming to get there, then you are going to subtract that particular part. So this particular kind of thing shows that how much is going from one part to another. Okay, from S to T. Everybody comfortable about net flow across the cut is this. Again, I'm going to define one more thing that is called the capacity. So a capacity is a very defined in a very different way. It says that if two sets are there, one is S, another is T, another is T. So from S to T, if there is a link, then you see that what capacity over there. Only the things which are crossing this boundary. You find out what is the summation of those capacities for all the U's which are inside the S, for all the V's which are onto the other side. You find out the summation of the values over here. This is called the capacity of the cut. So if you have a cut, you can find out two things. What is the net flow and what is the capacity? Everybody, are you okay? Okay. So capacity can change because if this is the graph, if this is the graph. So can I show you that capacity? 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. So let me say that I am going to put these two things over here. Can you tell me that what is the capacity? Is the cut calculated on the residual network or the original network? It is on the original network. Okay. So if this is the cut, what is the capacity? Capacity would be, what is the capacity? You have to find out into the S. Two things are there, small s and V3. Those two things are there, and into the S contains this, and T contains what? It is V1, V2, V4, and T. Okay, try to see from S, is there any V1? S2 V1, S2 V1 is there. So what is the capacity? 16. From S to V2 is there, that is 13. So you add 13 also. Okay, S2 V2 is there, you add 13 also. From S to no other place, so we are stuck over here. But from V3, it is going to V2, V3 to V2, it is 9. So we add 9 over here. From V3, it is going to T also 20. So we also add 20 over here. Okay. We also add 20 over here. Anything, can we add anything else? Am I missing anything? Because you can see that from V3, what is going out. Okay. So this is the summation of this number is going to called what? It is capacity. It is capacity. All right. So let me, if you are okay with this computation, I'm very happy. I just wanted to tell you that if I change this thing, for example, if I change this thing, whether the capacity would be same? Yes or no? Capacity is going to be changed. Yes, capacity is going to be changed, and they are not going to be the same. They are not going to be the same. So capacities are, because of my definition, they are going to be changed. So for this particular example, can you find out that what is the flow and the capacity across the cut? What is the flow and capacity? So flow would be here, these things are into S, these things are into T. Okay. So can you find out that what is the flow? Let's find out what is the capacity. Okay, let's find out what is the capacity. So how much is going out? I think here it is going, here it is going. So I can write here 12. So next here it is going. So I can write here 14. So 12 plus 14, you find out it is 26. Okay, anything else going out this side? No. Something is coming in also, but I'm not going to, because my definition is not that. It is not going to see that what is coming in. So for the capacity, this thing is not being computed. Capacity is 26. You can see that previous example, the capacity was way larger than this. Now next question, that what is flow? Okay, how to define the flow for all the things which are actually going out into next set and what is going to come. So what is going out, you have to find out. Capacity we have computed, let us find out the flow. So the flow into this particular network is how much? So you can see that it is going over here. 1 minute. So it is going here. So flow is 12. Okay, flow is 12. So and how much it is going? I think here it is going. So flow is 11. So 23. Okay. And how much it is returning back? It is 9. 4 is returning back. So minus 4, it is 19. The flow becomes 19. Any questions on that? Any question on that? Everybody understand that what is flow? Flow is 19. What is capacity? Capacity is 26. Everybody knows this, flow and capacity of this network. Okay. So what is net flow? So if we want to find out what is the flow across, this is a definition, okay? Flow across ST. What is the flow across FT? Means I had a network, I had defined a cut over there, where here small s is there, the next side T is there. Then if I say that what is the flow between S and T that we have just talked about, that how much is going out and how much is coming in, then this is going to be equal to the F. This is an important quantity I'm talking about. This is going to be equal to the F, means what is the network flow. If you are going to have, if you are having a network flow into the flow of F, then this cut is also going to have that particular value. Very interesting idea. That if you are going to have a cut, then this particular cut is also going to have the same flow. It is also going to be the same, going to have the same flow. How can you show this? So you can show this into this particular way. You know that from u to v and from v to u, if you want to find out the summation, it is actually going to be 0. This is the important thing that we know. We actually define, let us define what is the flow. Flow is defined by what? That for all the vertices, how much from S to V it is going, from V to S, how much is coming. This is what the definition is. Okay, this is the first definition for all the vertices. We actually want to find out the summation of these things. It is called F. Here, I'm going to add one more term that is a very weird kind of thing that I'm going to do over here, but just try to see that what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is this particular quantity whose value is actually going to be the 0, I am going to use this particular v value. I'm going to use v for s minus s, capital S minus small s. For these nodes, I'm going to find out the summation of this term, just adding something. So what is this particular quantity? This quantity is actually 0. Okay, so if I open this, it would go inside, and here two summation term would come over here. It would go inside, and then I can say that then I can do a small kind of rearrangement over here. I say how it is, because v is here now. So fuv, 1 minute. For all the v's which are here, if I take this summation and these terms out, if sv plus apart from s the summation of uv, okay, I can write this. I can combine these two things over here. Similarly, I can take this term over here. The second term is over here, and I can take this term over here and take this particular summation term. This summation terms out. Okay. Then what would happen? That inside, if you see that there is summation of SV, and without S, the summation of all these terms. So whatever left over here is actually available over here. Similarly, here also whatever left is there, it is available over here. So we can say that it is a summation for all the u's inside us. Okay, all the u's inside us. Here also summation of all the u's inside us. We can similarly arrange into this particular way. So and you know that this particular term, everything, because it's a v, is a v, so we can, because v contains the terms, there are two terms, okay, here, because v is a set of vertices and set of vertices is s and v, so we can write it into the two ways. Okay, two times we can write it, because if I say that for all the vertices which are inside s and all the vertices inside t, and let me take this thing, I can put it two times for S and T, and I can put this thing two times. If I put these things two times, then I can arrange, once again I can arrange these two things into the two places. I say that how much it actually is going out, how much is going to come, and then it is just a flow into the between S and T. The same thing comes out, that it is a whatever is actually going from S to T, it is actually going to be represented by this. So interesting idea that I think it is clear to you now, because the small change here, it is nothing more than this, that you know that V contains S and T. So I can say that this summation can be broken into two parts, here and here, and similarly here and here, and then I can rearrange these terms and say that for all the things which are T, there is a what is the flow over here and what is the flow over here, and if I just find out the summation between these two things, I can say that it is a total flow into the network. This flow is also upper bounded. We can say that because we have just seen that it is FST, and this is the summation that we have just seen a few minutes back. Here I can, if I drop this negative term, so the total summation becomes greater. I can put greater over here, and since this value is upper bounded by the C, so by this we can say that the flow is upper bounded by the capacity. Again, the same thing, flow is upper bounded. And therefore this quantity, by few minutes back we have defined as a capacity of the ST. This is our definition. So we can also say that this is can also be called as a capacity of ST. So there is a very interesting algorithm that you may have just If you combine all these things, you'll be able to see that I have a flow network. I'm going to cut it, and and I and what is the flow? Flow is upper bounded by the capacity. Try to understand this. What I'm going to say, very important point right now, that you have a flow network. You find out some cut, because you know that different cuts are going to have the different capacity. You find out some cut and it has a capacity. If it has a capacity, so some capacity value is this, some capacity value is this, and you can arrange them into the thing, and your flow is going to be the minimum of those values. So ultimately your flows need to be minimum that all the values that you can find out over here. Can you see this? Because you are cutting here, you are cutting here, you are cutting here, you are different kind of cuts you are going to find out. For all the cuts you are going to find out capacity, and your flow is going to be below than the capacity. So essentially for all the capacities, minimum value that you can find out from here, your flow can, maximum value of flow can only be equal to that particular value. Can you see this? Minimum cut, max flow minimum cut theorem means maximum flow that is possible is equal to the minimum cut, minimum capacity of the minimum cut of your network. Okay. So this is max flow minimum cut theorem. Actually, this is a very interesting theorem that actually puts three things into the line, and it says that all these three things are equal. It says that if the flow is maximum, then the residual network does not contains any augmenting path, and flow is equal to the CST for some cut into ST into the G. These three things are, it says that if the flow is maximum, then there is no augmenting path into the GF, means residual network. How come it is possible? You know that if there is any augmenting path, then you can add over here and you can increase it, so it is not a maximum flow. If there is a maximum flow, then it means that there is no augmenting path. Make sense? From 1 to 2, if it is a maximum flow, then there is no augmenting path, because if augmenting path have been there, then you can increase it. So it's a contradiction. Using contradiction, you can prove this particular statement. From 2 to 3, how can you prove this? Okay. So 2 to 3, actually the proof goes into this way, that actually says that there is some residual network. So it says that I'm going to define a cut into this particular way that all the vertices, if there is a path from S to V in GF, you know that one thing you know that in your graph, in your flow graph, consider the residual network. Okay, so in the residual network, what would happen, that you would not be able to find out the path from S to T. Okay, you would not be able to find out the path from S to T, because if you have find out, then it becomes a augmenting path and you can add to the maximum flow. If the maximum flow is there, then you cannot find a path. Means what? That if you start from S, you would be able to reach somewhere. After that, there would be no link. From S, you can go somewhere, there would be no link. You would be reaching somewhere, there would be no link. So you just consider those things from S where you are reaching. So you create this S and you say that capital S is a set that contains the places where I can reach. Okay. Similarly, you can define the T. It is just the V minus S. You can define T is equal to V minus S. Then what is the capacity? Here in this particular case, it is very important line that F of UV is equal to C of UV. The flow would be equal to the capacity, because if flow has not been equal to the capacity, for example, if you find out any connection, just see any connection. If you see anything here and anything here, and if there is a possible is there is a connection between them, so how much flow here it would be? The flow would be maximum, because if it is not maximum, then definitely there would be a link. Okay, and then you can find out a augmenting path. So all the flows are actually into all the things which are actually going from here to here, they are going to have the flow equal to the capacity. And reverse, there would not be anything, because if something is coming from there, it is not possible, because S is only sending the things to the V. If something is coming back, it means that it need to go to the next side also to compensate the things. So all these things are zero. So if you want to write the equation of FST, that is actually the standard equation, you see that here this term actually becomes zero, and here all the values become C. Here all the values becomes equal to the capacity. So actually this is the equal to the capacity. So this is a set that contains, this is the minimum capacity one, and actually this is how you can find out that what is the flow. From 3 to 1 means if you are if the flow is equal to the CST for some cut in this, then it is a maximum. Then it is a maximum flow. Again, the same argument actually says that since the everywhere there is a capacity has been reached, so you cannot increase much. Otherwise, there may be any augmenting path that you can increase over here. So this is a proof. This is a very interesting proof. Actually says that maximum. First thing that actually, let me tell you that what I wanted to conclude over here, that there is something is cut. In the cut, we know that there is something called flow and capacity. Okay, what is the capacity? We have seen that a formula. Using the formula, we have seen that if it is a maximum flow, we have seen if it is a maximum flow, then there is some minimum cut, because you know that the different cuts are going to have the different capacity. So whatever minimum cut minimum capacity cut you can find out, your flow is maximum value of flow is going to equal to that particular value. So this was the example that we have done earlier, so we need not to go into this once again. Thank you very much. That's all for today.